Hi everybody, good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Money Garden. Happy Monday everyone. So today it's Monday and that stands for Money Monday, and I wanted to share with you guys about the fifth step to a to financial independence or financial security, and that is something that is building wealth. And specifically on building wealth, well, there's a whole lot we can talk about this, right? There's a lot of different angles how we look at it, but one specific rule of how money grows, it's something called the rule of 72, which is I want to share with you guys. Now, most of the people, the majority of the people have not heard of the rule of 72. However, if I ask it, how about the compound interest? A lot of people will nod, oh yeah, I heard. However, even so, when I usually ask, can you share with me how it works? Most people don't know how to explain it. They don't quite understand. They kind of know, but not really. And they do know that this is somehow, if you invest, you make interest on interest. But then how much, how long, people don't know. Usually they're just guessing. And so understanding the rule of 72, basically it takes the guesswork out of it, you guys. So if you, let's go over it. First of all, it was invented by Albert Einstein. And the rule of 72 is essentially a mathematical equation that states, I'm going to give you guys the definition and then I will break it down into small steps of how it works. So the rule of 72 states that if you take 72 and you divide it by the interest rate you are getting on your investment, it will give you the number of years it will take for your money to double. So let's use the bank for example. Most people keep their money in a bank, right? Today, nowadays, now if this video is watched 5 years from now or 10 years from now, some of this information may be incorrect. I don't know, things always change. But right now, so just to be accurate, we are in 2019. July 2019, and nowadays the banks pay approximately on average 1%. A lot of banks pay way less than that, and some banks pay a little bit more than that. So I always use 1% as an average. So if we take 1% that we're getting on your investment, according to the rule of 72, if we take 72 and divide it by the interest rate, in this case being 1%, right? It will equal the number of years it will take for our money to double. So let's say we have $20,000 in the bank and we're receiving 1% on our investment. So at the 1% rate, it will take 72 years for the $20,000 to double to $40,000. So why is this important to know? That if you're saving money, that's fantastic. It's already a great thing you do. Just be very aware of that you're not going to save your way to retirement. Saving money in a bank is not enough. You're nowhere near you're going to have enough money at retirement. Certainly no one can retire on $40,000, right? Now what if the important things here is comes to for us to be aware and understand that actually there are different ways of investing, and this is not necessarily directly in the stock market, although that's also great. A lot of people use it and invested, more aggressive investors, or I would recommend it if you're more aggressive and you have knowledge or you have someone that has a lot of knowledge. That's a great way to do it. However, there's a lot of other ways that we can invest our money and get anywhere from 8 to 10% return on investment. And so if we're using the rule of 72, let's see what happens then. So according, again, following the definition, we take, let's assume we're find something, and this is long term. Again, I want to be very careful that long term, this is not an overnight investment or financial tool. Long term is, if we look at the stock market's performance long term, even the mid-aggressive funds, they have made an average about 10%. So if we're going to use the example of making 10% on our investment, it is not outrageous. It is not unrealistic. It is actually very realistic. So using 10%, 72 divided by 10 equals what? 7.2 years. So according to the rule, if we invest our money at a rate of 10%, then it will take 7 years for our money to double, right? So using the same example of the $20,000, and this is where compound interest kicks in and it makes it really, really exciting and interesting, that now you take the $20,000, you invest it at a rate of 10%, that according to the rule of 72 or compound interest, it will give you 7 years for your money to double. Meaning $20,000 invested at a rate of 10%, it will take 7 years for it to double to 40,000. And now, if you don't move it out of there, you leave it there, every 7 years this will continue doubling, which means what? That in 14 years, now you're going to have $40,000. In 21 years, right? See what I'm doing? I'm just keep adding 7 years. In 21 years, now you're going to have $80,000. In 28 years, you're going to have $160,000. In 33 years, right? You're going to, what is it, 33? No, 28. In 35 years, right? Another 7 years, you're going to have $640,000, and then in 42 years, right, you're gonna have $1.2 million. Now, again, this is 40 years, right? But that's how long it takes for people to save for retirement if you start when you're very young. Obviously, if you're older, you're gonna have to either invest a lot more, or you're gonna have to invest somehow, find at a higher rate, or be a little more aggressive with your investments, or save more on a monthly basis, right? But I'm using it like if you're in your 20s and you want to start saving for retirement, you know, in the bank, you're not going to save your way to retirement. So knowing the rule of 72, it is extremely important because it takes the guesswork out of it. You no longer have to just invest and think, yeah, I'm investing and I have these funds here, and then I think I'm going to have enough money when I retire. Well, you don't have to think. You can know. All you have to do is just look in the funds that you invested your money and look at what is the average rate of return, and that will give you, and knowing how much you're putting in, that will give you exactly knowing approximately how much money you're going to have when you retire. So for example, if you have your 401k, majority of the people don't know what funds their money is going into, don't know what is the average rate of return. They just know, yeah, I have a 401k, and on every paycheck, X amount of money from my paycheck goes into this 401k. That's it. But they have no idea what is this 401k doing. And this is where sometimes it's sad, kind of, it's the myth, the misunderstanding that we have, that somehow some company, the investment firm company is handling that for us. And no, that is not the case. You have to be proactive. You have to go in and you have the right to change it around. Usually they will put it in some funds for you, but they may not always be the right funds for you. So take it upon yourself to really know exactly where your money goes, what is the rate of return at which it grows, and understanding what funds you're picking for your investments. So I hope that helps you guys. This is how we build wealth. So just knowing the rule of 72, you no longer have to guess, you know exactly. And if you're not happy with the results, then you know that you're going to have to change some variables in the equation, because at the end of the day, the rule of 72 is really just a mathematical equation. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that helped you guys. And always, please leave your comments, questions, and I will see you guys next time on Friday.